Lords, I rise briefly, and it's a pleasure to follow the evident enthusiasm of the Noble Lord, Lord Gascoigne, and thank him for moving this amendment. I have to begin when you have an amendment headline, planting trees next to new roads, to point out, of course, that if you're talking about highways, etc., we shouldn't be building new roads, and all too often we are destroying wonderful pieces of nature, and I'm thinking here at this moment of standing beside a wonderful oak tree, which would have been a sapling when Elizabeth I was on the throne, which was threatened by the Norwich Link Road, Western Link, which luckily it would appear has been saved by some Barbastell bats. So sometimes the bats do win. But nonetheless, I do very much support this amendment, and I think the Noble Lord has made the case for it very strongly. I should perhaps declare an interest, since we're talking about old times, as one of the campaigners of the Save Sheffield Trees campaign, which really helped to highlight to the nation the human health benefits of street trees and how important they are to human health and well-being. So that's what we're talking about here, as well as biodiversity and nature. Given the time, I'm just going to say one other thing, which is, I think the Noble Lord alluded to this, but it is worth stressing that trees and other plantings, we think about, oh, we've got to have it for the trees, but of course that's absolutely crucial for other wildlife, and potentially we should be ensuring their roads are as good as they can possibly be wildlife corridors. And obviously birds is the obvious thing to think about there, but also many Noble Lords are probably aware of the phrase insectageddon, and the fact of how our insect populations, which at the base of the food web, have been collapsing, and the plantings beside roads and in urban areas should be providing some sort of refuge, some sort of restoration here. I've previously referred in this debate to the fact that we're not meeting the legal target to reverse the decline in nature by 2030, which is of course in the Environment Act. And I will just say one final thing, that you might be thinking I'm getting fairly small with insects, but I also want to focus on the importance of a rich microbial world and a rich fungal world. And just out yesterday, the Society for the Protection of Underground Networks produced some really important work pointing out that fungal biodiversity hotspots, very few of them are in protected areas, and we actually need to have a healthy environment going forward. We need to think about all elements of life in the web in which all of our bodies actually live, and this is just a small step, but I think it's a very sensible and practical one.